joining us today, especially those who are coming from overseas. Also to those who have braved the Jakarta traffic to join us this morning. Without further ado, we will go straight into the agenda for today. We have a very interesting agenda. But to kickstart the program, I'd like to invite Mr. Edgardo Amistad, Chairman of the ASEAN CSR Network, to deliver the welcome remarks.
Dear distinguished guests, participants, speakers, it is my pleasure to formally open this important and timely forum. As the founding chairman of this growing network, it is with great pride that I welcome all of you to Jakarta. Before we proceed to the important agenda for the day, I would like to take the opportunity to recognize a few people who have been instrumental in the formation of the network, starting with my fellow trustees. First is Deputy Chairman Muhammad Shah bin Hashim, representing International Chamber of Commerce, Malaysia. Mr. Frederick Ho, representing Singapore Compact for CSR. Ms. Yanti Triwadyantini, representing Indonesia Business Links. Ms. Yanti could not join us today because of prior commitments, but she and her team at IBL provided invaluable local support in organizing this forum. IBL's founder, Mr. John Arnold, and its chairman, Clifford Rees, are among many IBL members represented today. The next trustee is Mr. Watana Ubanon Amata, representing Thai Listed Companies Association's CSR Club. Mr. Amata is represented today by TLCA President Ms. Pensri Satirasarn. Next is Mr. Bin Nguyen, representing Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And last, but definitely not the least, Bibisono, representing the ASEAN Foundation. Special recognition must go to ASEAN Foundation, for without their support, we would not be here today. It is through the generosity made possible by ASEAN Foundation and the Japan ASEAN Solidarity Fund that the ASEAN CSR Network is able to operate. In fact, the idea of forming a regional network for corporate social responsibility or CSR was first raised by then Executive Director of the ASEAN Foundation, Dr. Filimon Uriarte Jr. Through the projects funded by the ASEAN Foundation and led by the Asian Institute of Management in 2009 and the League of Corporate Foundations in the Philippines in 2010, the foundation was laid for the establishment of this network. Finally, in 2011, with the Singapore Compact for CSR volunteering to be the first host secretariat, the ASEAN CSR Network was formally launched. Thanks to Mr. Thomas and Jerry Bernas, they are the two workhorses of the network, actually more of thoroughbreds. And their team at the ASEAN Secretariat in Singapore. The network has gone a long way since its inception, but still, with much more to go in promoting CSR in ASEAN. One key indicator of our success will be our ability to engage with business networks and stakeholders in all 10 ASEAN countries, especially in Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar, where the need to educate stakeholders about CSR is greatest. We are pleased to inform you that we are well on our way to achieving this goal. All 10 ASEAN countries are represented here today. Mr. Secretary General, we are here today not just as representatives of our respective organizations, but also as citizens of ASEAN and members of the ASEAN community. We therefore look forward to hearing your inspirational remarks later. Again, welcome to the first forum for responsible business conduct in ASEAN, and I wish you all a productive day. Thank you.
Now I would like to call on Dr. Makarim Wibisono, Executive Director of ASEAN Foundation and the Trustee of the ASEAN CSR Network, to give us his opening address.
His Excellency Ambassador Lu Min, Secretary General of ASEAN, Mr. Edgardo Amistad, the Chair of Board of Trustees of the ASEAN CSR Network, Mr. Thomas, Chief Operating Officer of the ASEAN CSR Network, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of ASEAN Foundation, it is my honor to welcome everyone here to participate in this forum. Despite busy and tight schedule in everyday life, including heavy traffic this morning. Especially those who have come from overseas, warm welcome to you all. As year 2015 near, where we will face the regional integration of ASEAN community is established, interest and attention on ASEAN integration is economically at an all-time very high. There is much that has been achieved in many fronts, and ASEAN is on the track in fulfilling its promise of an integrated political security, economic and socio-cultural community by 2015. When 2015 finally comes, there will be much to truly celebrate. But we must also remember that the process of community building never ends. 2015 is a target date for integration, but the work to build a strong, resilient, and sustainable ASEAN community does not end in 2015. With the benefit of integration, there will also come new difficulties and challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, as ASEAN economy and population grows, there is the never-ending challenge of food security. As a free movement of labor becomes a reality, we will have to tackle issues of human rights and decent working conditions, and ASEAN continue to attract more investment, so the issues of corruption will have to be dealt with more seriously. This is why, under the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community Blueprint that was adopted by the ASEAN leaders, the section on justice and right identified the promotion of CSR as a key strategy in achieving sustainable socio-economic development. This formally acknowledges the important role the private sectors play, not only the government, but also the private sector, not just in growing the economy, but also in achieving growth that is equitable, inclusive, and sustainable. This is the mandate that the ASEAN Community of ASEAN Foundation, with the support of Japan ASEAN Solidarity Fund, aim to achieve in supporting the formation of the ASEAN CSR network. Under the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community Blueprint, several action points are recommended. Firstly, to develop a model public policy on CSR, or legal instrument, for reference of ASEAN member states by 2010. Reference may be made to the relevant international standard and guide such as ISO 26000, titled Guidance on Social Responsibility. Secondly, to engage the private sector to support the activities to ASEAN sectoral bodies and the ASEAN Foundation in the field of CSR. Thirdly, to encourage adoption and implementation of international standards on social responsibility. And lastly, to increase awareness of CSR in ASEAN towards sustainable relation between commercial activities and the surrounding community. but the practice of CSR goes well beyond those specified in this section alone. Section on the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community Blueprint on protecting and promoting the right of migrant workers and ensuring environmental sustainability are also in line with the principle of CSR, as are the many aspects of the economic and socio-cultural community blueprint. Because ASEAN community is designed for a long-term purpose. If we are not actually able to facilitate this long-term approach, so the future of ASEAN community will be at stake. This is one reason that the ASEAN Foundation continues to support the ASEAN CSR network and its mission to promote the practice of CSR in the region. The ASEAN Foundation believes that engagement with the private sector is very important. No one group can tackle all challenges we face alone. But with shared values and joint approaches, we can make a difference together. It is not by coincidence that the ASEAN CSR Network is holding its first major forum in Jakarta, home of the ASEAN Secretariat, and with the presence of no less than the Secretary General of ASEAN, His Excellency Lelumin, as a guest of honor. The ASEAN CSR Network formation, and thus its mission, is an important part of ASEAN community building. And through this forum, we hope to generate more ideas and recommendations on how all sectors can work in hand in building the ASEAN community. It is on this note that I wish to thank the Secretary General of ASEAN, His Excellency Basil Lelumin, for gracing this occasion. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Lelumin, who will now share with us his remarks. To this end, I wish you all a productive forum, and for those who have flown from overseas, have a pleasant stay in Jakarta. I look forward to all your contributions and ideas over the course of this forum. Thank you so much.
Good morning to all of you. Excellencies, fellow members of the Board of Trustees of the ASEAN Foundation, Dr. Makrim Isbono, Director of the ASEAN Foundation, Mr. Edgardo Amistad, Chairman of the ASEAN CSR Network, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I thank you all for allowing me to be part of this important symposium. But before I start, let me, for those from the Philippines, I'd like to convey to you the deepest condolences and sympathy. And at this time of difficulty, I am sure of the continued support of the people of ASEAN. Ladies and gentlemen, building the ASEAN community entails the collective and concerted efforts of all stakeholders from the public and the private sector. Corporations in the region have a very significant role in making sure that their business activities contribute to our goal of a people-oriented, people-centered community by 2015. I'd like to express my gratitude to the ASEAN Corporate Social Responsibility Network for its kind invitation for me to share my thoughts on corporate social responsibility and its relation to the ASEAN building process. On the corporate social responsibility in ASEAN, the promotion of corporate social responsibility is embodied in the blueprint of the ASEAN cultural community, which seeks to ensure that the CSR is incorporated in the corporate agenda and contribute towards sustainable socio-economic development in ASEAN member states. Other than developing a model CSR policy or legal instrument, as well as the adoption of internal CSR standards, ASEAN also hopes to engage the private sector to support the CSR activities of ASEAN sectoral bodies and the CSR Foundation, the ASEAN Foundation, thereby increasing CSR awareness and adoption in the region. With CSR in ASEAN seen as a broad, cross-cutting issue that is undertaken by various relevant ASEAN organs and sectoral bodies, and so far, the ASEAN Foundation has implemented a number of CSR-related activities, including support for the establishment of the ASEAN CSR network. Various ASEAN sectoral bodies are encouraged to undertake, and some have undertaken actually the CSR-related action line in the ASCC blueprint. One of the thematic areas of the ASEAN Labour Ministerial Work Programme for the period 2010-2015 is the promotion of CSR by number one, defining labour-related CSR goals in ASEAN, and number two, developing an agenda for promoting labour-related CSR issues in the region. A working group under the senior labour officials meeting, working group on progressive labour practices to enhance competitiveness in ASEAN is tasked to lead implementation of these action lines. With the senior officials meeting on social welfare development, Thailand convened the regional workshop on ASEAN Action Plan on CSR in 2011. The workshop adopted a set of 12 recommendations for the ASCC Council to consider in order to implement the CSR action line of this ASCC blueprint. Discussions over CSR-related action line are ongoing at the senior officials for the ASCC or the SOGA, which had just completed the midterm review of implementation of the ASCC blueprint. Since 2007, the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, or the ASEAN BAC, an ASEAN associated entity, has given the ASEAN Business Council award to large companies as well as small and medium enterprises for having demonstrated CSR values and initiative in their business activities. And CSR is one of the four major onward award categories, which also include excellence in innovation, growth, and employment. To demonstrate CSR on its own, the ASEAN BAC also launched a scholarship program for university students in 2010. The ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights, or the ICHA, is also currently undertaking a study on CSR as it relates to promotion and protection of human rights in the ASEAN region, with the aim of establishing a common regional framework to accelerate the promotion of CSR and human rights. The study will seek to understand the current state of CSR, including the application of international standards in ASEAN context. It will also support CSR policy development in line with the ASCC blueprint. In view of the differing levels of economic and social development among ASEAN member states, with a wide range of business enterprises and industry sectors, the study called for an understanding of the particular situation faced by each member state of ASEAN in the area of CSR and its relationship with human rights, and find common basis for future guidance. The baseline study will also reference established frameworks such as the UN Protect, Respect, and Remedy framework for business and human rights, and the guiding principle for business and human rights. On the CSR for ASEAN building process, it must be admitted that ASEAN's effort to promote CSR at the regional level is still at the nascent stage. Thus, we welcome the initial efforts of ASEAN organs and sectoral bodies, as well as the continuing contributions of the ASEAN CSR network, which since 2010, together with the ASEAN Foundation, has championed CSR by providing the platform for networking, knowledge sharing, and capacity building in the ASEAN region. Through these efforts, we hope that we build the momentum for greater push for the ASEAN in the regional level. With only 2 more years before the deadline of 2015 for getting the UNDI in place, the business sector has more than ever a greater role to play in building the arts community that we are striving for, and companies must strive to build businesses that add to the communities where they operate and not just generate wealth, which shareholders those values. Yes.